Hello friends, in this session we are going to learn about Azure Traffic Manager and its working. So first let us understand the use of Azure Traffic Manager. Consider the scenario where the client might require its services or the applications to be hosted on the different locations or the regions so that the user requests from anywhere in the world can be handled based on the performance, based on the geography. So in that case, Azure Traffic Manager comes into the picture. Okay. So Azure Traffic Manager is a global service DNS based load balancer to manage user traffic distribution to service endpoints in different Azure regions by providing high availability and response. This traffic manager uses DNS to route client requests to the most appropriate service endpoint based on the traffic routing method and health of the endpoints. Let us now understand some important features of the Azure Traffic Manager. So let us talk about the first feature, which is the global service and increase application availability. So it means it provides an automatic failover to the other endpoints when one goes down. Means there will be high availability. Okay. So coming to the second point, improve application performance. This allows to run services websites in data centers located around the world and improve responsiveness by routing the traffic to the endpoint with lowest latency. Coming to the third point, service maintenance without downtime. Traffic routed to alternative endpoints in the case of plant maintenance. Okay. The last point, combine hybrid applications. It also supports external non-Azure endpoints, enabling it to use with the hybrid cloud and on-premise deployments. So let us now discuss the types of routing methods used in Azure Traffic Manager. So we have 6 types of routing methods. So in the priority, it routes the traffic to the primary service endpoint and routes traffic to the other backup endpoint. In the case of primary endpoint goes unavailable. In the performance, it routes traffic to the closest endpoint with the lowest latency from available endpoints in the different geographic locations. In the weighted, it routes traffic across a set of endpoints based on their weight. For example, if we have 2 service endpoints and we have given the weightage in the first endpoint as a 70% and to the other we have given 30. So that 70% traffic will go on the first endpoint, service endpoint, and 30% will go on the second. Okay. Coming to the geographic, it routes to direct user to the specific endpoint based on the DNS queries that originate from the same geography. Okay. And in the subnet, it routing method to map sets of end user IP address ranges to a specific endpoint. And in the last, multi-value, it is available for IPv4, IPv6 endpoints only. Okay. So now let us see the architecture of the Azure Traffic Manager. So in this architecture we can see we have 2 regions, East US and the West US. So in these regions the applications or the services are hosted. Okay. And this is the Azure Traffic Manager, which is also a load balancer. It's a global service. Okay. So the request coming from the user will first come to the DNS service, and from here it will go to the Azure Traffic Manager. From Azure Traffic Manager, the request will be distributed to the service endpoints which are in the different regions based on the routing method that we have defined. Okay. So this is the architecture of the Azure Traffic Manager, how it works. Okay, so now before starting a demo, let us first understand the steps that we are going to perform. Okay. So we are going to create 2 Windows virtual machines in the different regions. We will install IS to make this VM as a web server, and then we will create the Azure Traffic Manager profile at service endpoints, and we will test the working of the Traffic Manager, and we'll see how the requests are routing to the service endpoints. So now let's go to the portal and see. So we are on the Azure portal. Let me go and create the virtual machine. Click add. I'll create the new resource group. This is the first VM. I'll take the name East VM. I'm creating the VMs in the East US and West US. So here I take the East US. I'm taking the Windows. I'm not taking any availability option. Let me take the username. Let me enable the HTTP port also. So this is fine now here. Let me proceed further. I am taking the disk as a standard STD, and now I am clicking on the review and create. So this is our first virtual machine. So this is in progress. Let me go to the virtual machine again and create the second virtual machine. I'll take the same resource group. I'm giving the name as a West VM. So I'll change the region here. West US. This is West US. I'm taking the same Windows feature machine. I'll enable HTTP port and go to the disk. I'll take the same SSD, standard SSD STD, and let me click on review and create. So let me go to the again virtual machines option. So this is our first virtual machine. This has been created. Let me RDP it so that we can install the IS on it. Let me check the status of the second VM. So this is in creating status. It will take some time and it will be done. Let me log in, check. So I'm logging on to the second server also. It will take time. Okay, let us do on the first server. So this is our first server, first VM. We'll install IS over here. Okay, this is not started. Okay, not a problem. Let me refresh once here. Okay, it will take time, I think. So let us install the IS on the first server to Server Manager. So from here we will be installing IS, add role and features. This is running. Now we can log into this server also. Let me create. So parallelly we will install IS on both the servers. So this is our first server. Next. So if we scroll down, we will see the option of IS, web server IS. We'll add it. Next. We'll install it. So it will take some couple of 2-3 minutes. Let us go on the second server. So this is our second server. It is starting. In the first server it has started installation. We'll do it on the second server now. So by default it will open the Server Manager. We are installing web server on second VM now. Web server IIS, add features, next, install. So let us check now on the first VM. So this is done. Okay, let me close it. And we will do one change here. We will change the content of the web page, default web page. so that we can identify while we test the Azure Traffic Manager. So I'm in the C drive in pub where the IIS is installed. So I'm changing the content. So I'll make it as a East US web server because this is the first web server. I think this is fine, right? So we will be able to identify the request is going on which server, which web server. So let me just copy it. Save. Close it. Now I am going on the second server to check whether the IIS is installed or not. It has been failed, one or more pre-deployment tasks failed. Let me close it and do it again. Sometimes it gives error. So this is now started now. Let me go to the Azure portal and we need to change one thing more. Let me go to the virtual machines. I am going on the East VM. So here we need to change we need to configure the DNS name also, because this will be required while configuring the Azure Traffic Manager. So I'll keep the name as East DNS. We save it. The same thing we'll be doing for the West VM server also. This step we are doing because this will be required for the Azure Traffic Manager to be configured. So this is required. So this is done on the first VM. Let me go on the second VM also. West US VM. I'll do the same thing here also. So here I'll keep the name as West DNS 15. Save. So now I'm going on the VM West US VM. So this is done. Let me close it. And I will do the same settings here which we have done on the first VM also for the web page. So I'm going to the IIS directory, root. So here I will make it West US. West US. Okay. Let me save it. Close it. So this is done. So now our VMs are created and the IIS is now installed. So now what we are going to do, we are going to configure Azure Traffic Manager. So let us create the Traffic Manager profile. Click on New. So give me the name here, Traffic 15. We can give any name. Okay. So this is a profile, Traffic 15, and these are the routing methods that we discussed. Okay. So So I'm taking here performance. I'll take the resource group, same resource group, and I'll click on the create. So our traffic manager profile has been created. Let me go to the resource. So if you check here in the traffic manager profile blade, we have the option of endpoints. Let me click on it. We need to create the endpoints. Azure endpoint. So I'll give the endpoint name as and find East US. So here I will take the option as a public IP because we have created a VM here, and this is a East VM. So I'll take this and click on add. Let me create the second service endpoint. I'll give the name as a West endpoint. I'll take the same option, public IP address, and this time I will select the West VM. Okay, click on add. Let me go to the overview now. Click on refresh. So this is our DNS name of the Azure Traffic Manager. Okay, so this we will hit on the browser and check where the request is going, and we have two service endpoint. One is the East US and other in the West US. Okay, so let me just wait for 1-2 minutes, then I will just check it. Endpoint status is coming as a checking endpoint. Okay, so now let me copy this. This is the DNS name of the traffic manager, and I'll hit on the browser and check. So we can see the request is going on the East US. If I open the another browser and check, it is again going on the East US. Let me open the private window and check here. It's again going on the East US web server. So what we can do, we need to check it from the VMs that we created, because the VMs are on the different regions. So from here we will be able to verify whether the requests are going on both the server fine or not. Okay, so let me copy again this DNS name, and I am going on the first VM first. Okay, so this is, check the IP, it's a different IP. So this is our first VM. I'll copy and paste here. So here it will show the East US. Okay, so region wise. So now I am going on the second VM, which is the West US. So I'll hit the same DNS. Now this time it should show the West US, because the DNS name is same. See, this time it is West US web server. Okay, so this is the VM2, and here we have the VM1. So the VM1 is in the East US, and the same DNS name is routing the request to both the service endpoint, one in the East US and other in the West US. So we can see now the traffic manager is working fine, and the requests are routing based on the routing method. Okay, so this is all about the traffic manager. Thank you.